Hey, what's up, Tristan? I'm doing pretty well. How are you? I'm just warming up for I'm gonna do snatch, push, press, and then kind of figure out what I want to do after. Hello from London. I mean, I would say America's a good place to live, but I have no reference. I think the probably the most important thing to point out when thinking about is America a good place to live or not is the absolute size of it. So if you transpose the size of the United States on Europe, you'll truly realize just how large of a country it is and how diverse it is. So when you say America, United States, like the difference of living in, say, Maine or Arizona is so different when you look at the distance of that. And if you actually transpose that on Europe and look at like similar distances for countries, it's vastly different cultures in Europe. And not that it's vastly different in that same way for America, but I would say it's probably different kinds of people that live in Maine than Arizona. But you're in Kentucky? Yeah, I'm up in Ohio, so pretty close to there. But pretty nice. So I'm gonna do some well, hit 60 kilos. Definitely contemplated the movements that I wanted to do today, and I knew I didn't want to do anything too crazy heavy. So the snatch push press is one that is um, snatch push press is one that's a pretty easy movement. It's one I haven't done a lot lately, so it's kind of like a nice movement to do today. Thought about doing snatch balances, but I also was looking for a movement that wouldn't tax me terribly if I wanted to do like jerks or something from the racks. So trying to figure out, the rest of that. But once it gets dark out, then I kind of need to start doing something. So snatch, push, press, and that's kind of like when you're writing your own training stuff. You just have to commit to doing something eventually. No idea what that means, but all right. We'll go up to 100. Snatch, push, press are nice too because it's not very difficult of a movement. Don't know what you mean by that, Sade. So I'll do at least one, maybe two. We'll see. Honestly, not too bad. I was pleasantly surprised because that was a big jump from 60 kilos to 100. So easy double there. I'll probably go to. He's a weirdo. But whatchamacallit. So that's 100 kilos. So I think I'm gonna go to 125 because jumping up to 100 felt fine. So I did 3, 2. And one of my goals with accessories like this to the snatch is to exceed what I'm doing from a normal variation or from the floor. So earlier this week I did 120 for 2 from the blocks, plus an overhead squat, but I've done 120 from the floor relatively recently. So I'm gonna get up to, just like I did snatch balance the other day with 125. I would like to do this also with 125, and I haven't done it for a while because I've gone all the way up to 145 with it, but hello to Angel or Angel. I guess it could be either. But we're gonna go to 125. Just for one. Let's see. Yeah, good old shed gym. Alright, so this will definitely just be a single, so it should be pretty routine. I'm slide it over slightly. But I'm gonna block this weirdo person. There we go. We don't need that. We don't need that weirdo. Alright, 125. Feels really good and spicy. We might try to do more than one, but I haven't done this movement in a while, so I'm not super worried if it doesn't feel great. Yeah. Honestly, I was worried I was going to miss the first rep. I was completely not prepared to do that for 3, but once I caught the first one, or re-racked the first one, then definitely knew I had at least a chance for 2. And then once I had 2, I was like, I might as well try to go for the go for the third. So pleasantly surprised. The lockout with both arms felt really good, so I was really happy about that. I got a lot. I'm gonna scroll back up for a second to see what I missed. Whoop! Almost knocked you guys down. Viking jeans. Oh, I'm like German and Irish. I don't know. Maybe I got some lucky Viking jeans. But thank you, Malcolm. Appreciate it, Bradley. So this is, sorry, I'm blind, guys. Chat's gotta slow down, I'm blind. Where are my glasses? I'm an old man, but I don't really think I'm that old, but. Alright, so ski mask command. This is a snatch push press, so it's a derivative of a snatch. It's like a pressing type movement. So you might see non-weightlifters and Olympic weightlifters do it. I'm using it for my purposes to reinforce the lockout position at the top of a snatch. So just trying to, hold a heavy weight above my head in that locked out position. And obviously, there's going to be some benefits to the leg drive and the shoulders and whatnot, since it's not, just a passive movement, but it's mostly just to feel that locked out position above my head and kind of work on that stability there. So it's like just an overhead hold, a glorified overhead hold, but it's a yeah. I mean, like that's and like for this, it's not only targeting the muscles, but also the neurological tolerance of holding that weight. So it kind of works on physical traits as I guess neurological are physical, but works on like the literal muscles and the joints and whatnot, to stabilize them to allow me to do it from the floor more easily in theory, but also it allows you to feel that heavier weight in that position that you'd be holding a snatch in a way that's not really that stressful to do or get into like an overhead squat as much. So it's an easier derivative. Yeah, first rep felt really good, and really they all felt pretty good. Let's see. Leo Jean, I have no opinions about anything related to a combat sport. I think the best answer is to do both, to vary both, because with push press you can have a heavier load, and with overhead press you're limited by the strength of your shoulders. So obviously with the push press you're going to get some more leg drive, you're going to get a heavier weight, and it's a more athletic movement than just a strict overhead press. So the best answer, and one that I use for myself, is to do both variations, because if you want a better overhead press, then you want to push press, and if you want a better push press, you overhead press. It kind of works. They kind of work together. It's kind of like it's almost like the difference between a regular back squat and a pause back squat. Like a pause back squat, you're going to be limited on the weight because of the pause, but with that dynamic stretch reflex, kind of like the push press, you're going to be able to do more weight. But like it's kind of good to do a little bit of both, but I would say it's much more mandatory. Like you can kind of get away with not doing a lot of pause squats, but overhead press is nice because it just builds everything up. And push press in the same way, but it's more of an athletic movement. And appreciate it, Revzy. I don't know how to say your name, but I think it's Revzy. A bug flying around. What did you start with when you started lifting? So, hello, Mr. Joyota from India. I'm just taking guesses at all these names, but to give you the brief TLDR, whatever, of my lifting, I started any form of resistance training when I was about 13, 12, maybe even 11. But it was after I broke my arm. My dad gave me some forearm exercises to do to help rehab my wrist. I broke this bone actually right here, about right where my wrist is. I don't have any issues with it now, but the radius in my arm. And just whenever you break a bone, I had neurological issues in these two fingers from it, but I didn't have like necessarily like muscular issues. It just was really weak. So give me like wrist roller stuff to do, like a tennis ball exercise to squeeze, and just a bunch of. So that was like the first like lifting stuff besides like being a kid and doing push-ups and pull-ups and stuff, just for fun. We had stuff in the basement, so I would dabble in doing random pull-ups and stuff, and nothing that was structured at that point. But did some lifting after that point in middle school, so like 12, 13, and then after that, so once I was a freshman in high school, that's when I stopped playing basketball. And so when I stopped playing basketball, and it was actually after ninth grade, so in 10th grade, so when I actually remember this, I was 15 and a half, and I was like 130 pounds. I just lifted the whole winter, and wasn't playing basketball, so I was able to actually gain weight. And after that point, I went from like 130 to 150 in like a winter, and a lot of that was just from the fact that I was able to actually, keep weight on because I wasn't playing basketball. But then after that, like I've been lifting. That was like the most, I would say, the most structured lifting I had at that point. So when I was like 15, and that was just like basic push pull stuff. But as far as like specifically Olympic weightlifting, like snatch, clean and jerk, I've been doing that since about 2017, 2018. It wasn't like a strict time that I started this type of lifting and stopped powerlifting. They kind of went together for a little bit, and then I kind of fell in love more with weightlifting, and then just kept doing that after I did a powerlifting meet. I think in the end of 2017, and then did a weightlifting meet right at the beginning of 2018, within like a month of each other, and I just had a lot more fun doing the weightlifting meet and just the movements in general. There's, I think, a lot more fun and challenging to do. So I just kind of stuck with that. I originally started them just to get better at powerlifting, but chat's kind of wilding out. I, well, I mean, I guess the flag behind me might do it, but and the English speaking, but I don't know. I guess like I do kind of know like generally what you're talking about. It is kind of like the vibe, but it is like it's definitely like I don't notice it too much, obviously, as like, an American myself, but it is kind of tricky because there is. I was telling someone earlier, like if you transpose the size of America into Europe, it's just such a large amount of space, and the diversity that you have as a space this large is just insane. I don't know like my total ancestry, how far back in America it goes before we all inevitably came over, but um, you guys are wilding out. But thankfully, I'm done with this first exercise. Got a lot of people in here. I appreciate it, but should probably do another exercise. I'm thinking I'm gonna do some jerks from the rack, so I'm gonna set up for those. But the 125 felt good. America is really diverse. There's a lot of if you just Google Maps, just type in going from New York to California to see that how many miles or kilometers, whatever, meters, whatever unit of measurement you want to use, and see just how insanely far that is. And then you see like in Europe how quick it is to get to multiple countries. That's something that as a kid I didn't even realize. You think Europe is vastly bigger than all of America, but then you realize that the landmass here is just crazy. It's crazy large. But I am so like from the sea myself. I don't really care about the ocean. I I burn when I'm at the beach if you can't tell. But for me, I think I could get to. I actually don't know the closest like ocean that I could get to, or like the amount of time it would take me to get there. Probably like 10 hours, maybe more. But maybe it's 8 because I've driven the north from where I live now in Ohio. I've driven to North Carolina when I coached baseball, and I think it took maybe like 8-10 hours. I'm not exactly sure, but it takes a little while. There's big lakes and stuff, but I'm not a water bug, so I don't. I just hang out in my shed and lift weights. uh, yeah, but Baltimore area. I've been to Baltimore multiple times, but only in the airport on a connecting flight to Florida. So I have no opinion of the area. Airport, airport's internet's terrible though, but I don't. It's done that a couple times. It's always Florida. It's going to Florida. Not powerlifting. Olympic weightlifting. So we're gonna do some rack jerks. I'm just redoing the wrist wraps just because you don't want them sitting on too long. They get loosened and whatnot. I think one of the best things you can do with a lifting session is set low expectations and then try to meet those minimums and before trying to go up. Because I could have said like, I want to snatch push press 140 today, and I'd have been disappointed if I stopped at 125. But I really didn't have any expectations for push presses. I had no idea what I was to do. But like for the jerks, I want to get to 140, but I know I could probably do a little bit more, but I don't want to say like, all right, I want to do 150 and then be disappointed, or do 140 and it feels difficult and then feel the need to go up more. Because I'm just training. I don't need to hit any particular number today. When you're lifting, you're trying to get stronger, but you're also practicing the various movements that you're doing. So Jim Schwarzenegger. But yeah, I don't know if you mean every human can live in the state of Texas. I just know America's large, Europe is large, but America is a lot of land mass as a whole. Texas is huge. Texas and California are absolutely massive. Honestly, the state of Ohio is pretty large as well. I think Ohio is probably one of the most like underrated like large states in America, because people think California, Texas, Florida have like the main ones, but obviously New York and as far as New York City, but Ohio is like actually strangely large. It's just not like a cool place, but I like it. All right, so back to 60 kilos. So do it for 1 or 2, and then go back up to 100, and I might honestly just go to 110, and then just go right to 140 because it's jerks, so it's not that difficult to do from the rack. To take big jumps, I should say. First one felt better than the second. More comfortable, I should say. I don't know. It's hard to describe it with light weights, but you know it when you feel it. It just feels a little bit more precise, just a little bit more comfortable muscle and joint wise. But Alaska, the craziest. I was just telling my friend the other day about Alaska and the moose, and watching state troopers, Alaska state troopers, and they're at like a car crash for like a moose, and it just destroys the car. just everything's just smashed like they just hit a semi truck. That's another thing in America. It's moose. Moose. It's hard to tell how large a moose is. I see deer. I've hit a deer. Deer are large, and I think of something twice, 3 times the size of a deer like that hitting your car is rather terrifying. In one sense, it seems like it would be easier to avoid because you'd see it coming a little bit more, but probably not at night. I don't think I'd much like living in Alaska, though. It seems pretty miserable with the weather just being cold all the time. Moose fights grizzly bears. Who wins? Moose or a grizzly bear? I feel like that's I feel like if we're thinking about the size of animals, I feel like they're pretty close. I think elk might. That's what started our conversation. Our friend was mentioning elk, and then I mentioned the Alaska State Troopers and the moose. I made friends with the moose. Kodiak grizzly. Yeah, I mean, I got the door open to the shed, and people are calling it a basement still. You can see Actually, can you? No, I guess you can't see my neighbor's lights across the street. You only see the big weights. All right, 110 now. Just one. Same thing, felt pretty easy. Just nice. So going from 60 to 110 is a big jump. That would freak. I think just seeing a moose for me in general, anything that large would freak me out. Then I had to I think it had to have been not this past summer, but the summer before. There's a couple of mice that lived there. They ran around. I had to get some traps out here. I was setting up to do a block snatch, and I saw the mice run around. I was like, well, I guess I'm just done lifting because I don't trust that a mouse is not gonna, run across my feet or something while I'm trying to lift. Oh, I am not in. I don't know what AK is. Arkansas or Alaska? Neither. But yeah, it seems like the pictures. It's kind of like a bear. Like it seems like pictures will never do it justice until you see just like the insanity of the size difference. Because in the context of like a bear in a forest or a moose or whatever, they're against giant trees along other moose. It's kind of like an NBA player. Like they all look the same. They all look normal until you see them against next to someone that's 5'10". Then you're like, that person's really tall. So this would be a good weight to hit for the day. I don't know if I'll want to re-rack it even if I want to go up. But I'm not an Alaskan there, Tapper. How dare you? How dare you insult me? Calling me an Alaskan. Can't believe it. Oh, I guess the Arkansas flag might have thrown you off. I got 3 other flags up there. So you gotta look at all of them, figure out where I'm from, maybe. Alright, just for one again, and ideally I would re-rack it and go up, but it's gotta feel good for that, and it just might not. It's just kind of hit or miss sometimes with it, but I don't have a ton of energy for this, so that's kind of like giving me second thoughts about if I could go up or not, but we got to hit this weight first. No. Yeah, it kind of was like as soon as I did down, I kind of knew. I knew it wasn't gonna happen. But gives me more reason on why doing the snatch push press was a good idea. That I didn't have. Now it's a big jump, but also kind of knew the energy that I had today. It is what it is. Alright, so didn't hit that, which is alright. So I'm going to hit some clean deadlifts and then call it a night probably. So I squatted the last 2 days. And I probably want to go heavy Saturday, so I don't want to do where are my straps? If I'm going to do clean pulls or something, I want to get them done today, so I have more time to recover from them. But it is what it is. You don't need a spotter for jerks. That just would hurt 2 people. Greta, how dare you? That's how I feel. I'm Greta. There's many insults that I can take, but an Alaskan, I don't know if I can handle that. Ugh. I like the various troll comments that are thrown into the chat. It's just kind of comical. They just try to get a reaction. But like, I work with kids. I'm a teacher. It's not difficult for me to ignore random shenanigans. That's half my day is doing that. Stuff be cracking. Yeah, I'm a PE teacher. Who is this fart? It's me, the non-Alaskan. You know, call me a fart. Don't call me Alaskan. No grassing on your geezer? You know, that must be an Alaskan phrase. I don't know what that means. That's a phrase only Alaska people can know. Alright. So clean pulls, I'll keep easy. I'm going to do 140 for 3, and then slap on the blue, and do, a string here. Do 180 for 3. Maybe doubles, actually. I think that sounds like a better idea. I don't necessarily want to do a triple with a heavy weight on the pull, but do 40, 80, probably just do 210, and then just keep slapping on. Actually, we're going to do 40 and then 90, because I'm going to throw the reds on so I can go heavier than that. So I'm not moving around the weights too much. Alright. Then we'll do like 230 or something. Trying to make sure I arch my back and try to keep it similar to what I would do in a clean, at least until it gets above like 210. Then it's just kind of ooga booging the weight. You what? Now you're British? I don't even know what's going on, Bradley. Are you grassing on my geezer? Speaking of grass, though, all my grass is dead. It hasn't rained in forever. Which, for me, I don't mind because I don't have to mow my grass then. And my yard is the Garden of Eden. It will grow in any weather almost. Just needs a little rain. Now you're calling me a savage animal. You Alaskan people. Absolutely toxic. Time to ooga booga 190. I'm just going to do one because I'm going to go heavier. Might do a couple on the top set, do like 3. But pulls I have to be kind of careful with because I'm good at them, so I can do them really heavy. And there's some utility to doing heavy pulls, but there's also a recovery component. You know, I can come out here and pull 600 pounds on a regular basis, but I'm not going to lift well the next day. Typically, if I'm doing like a triple by the way like that, just because you have to recover from it a lot more than if you do like 500. But you don't want to get a hernia? Maybe I want a hernia. Maybe that's my secret plan. Herniated disc. Hernias all over the place. Alright, so 190. This will be 230. So 230, then we'll do one more after this. We'll do a single here and move up from there. You guys are wilding out. All right, so 230 now. We did 2, 1, 230, 2 for 1. So this one should move all right. We'll see if I want to do another rep. Maybe we do it without shoes. That'll make it a lot easier to do a heavier one, but we'll see. This one's got to feel good. Actually felt really easy. Pleasantly surprised. It felt better than 190 somehow. I think I just grooved it better. Maybe just tried harder. More effort. More effort. We're in a hernia. I can try again. Well, I appreciate your permission, sir. Alright, so this is 260. 5. watch a blind man look for weights to make his life harder. I actually don't think my vision is as bad as it seems while I lift, but just wearing glasses all day, and then this is the only time I don't wear them, so my vision is like, used to having glasses, so it's just extra weak. So I know your vision does kind of will kind of naturally correct a little bit, even if you have poor vision. Like if you never wear glasses ever, your vision will be better than if you always wear glasses and then take them off. That like base vision, but probably not smart to do. Probably get headaches and stuff. Probably flip your finger in most folks. This is warming up. I did 140, 190, 230. My best ever is 305. And yeah, I don't know. This is literally how I would warm up for deadlifts. You just take big jumps because there's deadlifts. I'm not wasting all my time doing small jumps. So this 265. I think if it pleases the court, I will try to do this for a triple with the shoes behind the backboard, off the backboard for a 3-point shot. But Bradley, I don't know what the amendments have to do with you got some Alaskan humor. I would say that's some far out humor because you're the furthest out state other than maybe Hawaii. I bet they have some goofy humor too. You and your moose humor. Moose level IQ. Alright. So we have 3 choices. A is 1 rep. B is 2. C, 3. Sounds like Battleship, C3. Or D, anything more than 3. Anything more than 3, I have no idea. I'm at least going to do 1. So we're going to see. Like Mooster lift? You don't even put 2 O's in that. I don't even know if you're actually from Alaska. You can't even spell Mooster right. So I think 265 is like 580 something. Because 270 is like 596. So it's like 585. Something around there. I forget the pounds sometimes. But also, I lift in kilos. I lift in kilometers. I lift in European. Big Mon, I don't have a translator. Whelps wild than that. Alright, 265. So you guys can guess if I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 or more. I'm not going to do more than 3. I will not do more than 3. But you can guess more than 3. Three reps with 265 or 1 moose in Alaskan. Oh, 1 standard moose. I actually have no idea what a moose weighs. Could be even more than that. Oh, that was a lot. Where are my glasses? Where'd you guys put my glasses? Oh no, you guys hid my glasses. Good luck for everyone else on the road tomorrow. Driving into the sun at 8 a.m. blind. That's all, well. Trolls are weak. I'm not weak, and I'm a troll. Big Bon, I have no idea what you're saying, but I've also learned that if a message is picked up by the YouTube filter, not to click on it. It's never not a good thing, or it's never a good thing in there. I'll click on this one just to view it. Got it. Let's see what it says. It's just Russian. Big Bon he's typing his heart away, and I don't know what he's saying. He's having. Well, he'd be expensive. Be expensive to smash my glasses. I have astigmatism. Can't be smashing mine. I already bought glasses this year. My insurance only gives me glasses once a year. Next year you can smash them. Oh. Them teacher glasses. You know, I think you're probably right, because they're the same style my dad wears, and he's also a teacher. And I got them because they look like his, and I like the no thing on the bottom. And I've always had a pair that have been like this style, so I've never changed. I might go to a monocle at some point, but I think that requires a moose injury to one of my eyes. I always joke with students, if they have like a hurt eye or whatever, that, if their their hands hurt. Like, well, if we chop it off here, it won't hurt anymore because it won't be there. Then we'll get you a nice hook, but we'll have to chop off one of your legs because you'll need a peg leg, and just start dressing, telling them that they have to be a pirate. And the younger the student, the longer it takes them to realize what you're trying to get them to understand. You're going to make them a pirate. Usually once you ask them, like, you can drive a boat, right? And they're like, no. And then realize they're a pirate. Oh. Josh, I have no idea what you're saying. Band-aids equal shots. I don't. Get the fan of pain. Yeah, but you're making I'm not gonna. That's the kids say. I don't want my arm chopped off. The funny is when they're not really listening and like, all right, so this finger hurts. All right, let me chop it off right here, right? And they're like, yep, and they just agree to it. They're like, dude, you're not listening to anything I'm saying. That's how you know they're not really that hurt. You can always tell when they're like kids actually hurt, or if it's just like I fell and bumped myself. Thankfully, it's usually never serious. I don't know. The most serious injury I've had was actually within a week of each other, which is the funniest part, and it was with frisbees. So just using plastic frisbees, and kids are lined up tossing it to each other. I think it was a second grader. Missed it, hit him in the tooth, chipped his tooth or whatever. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, is that your baby tooth? And he doesn't really know, but so he wasn't like, didn't have like crazy dental surgery or anything like that, but chipped tooth, obviously not good. But then not even a week later, with a 5th grade class, we go outside to do frisbees, and before we are even out into this field, a kid throws a frisbee up to himself. I don't know how high, probably 10, 15 feet above his head, and just to catch it, like not even being malicious about it, to catch it himself, hits himself in the face, and his bottom lip, he like knocked his tooth through his lip. I don't know if he chipped a tooth, but I'm pretty sure he like bit through his own lip. like the physics of that didn't make any sense, like how he managed to do that. But I obviously you feel bad because like both kids were nice, so it wasn't like they were stinkers or anything like that, or they were doing anything wrong. But it's just like like how do you manage to do that? How do you hit yourself in the face? So frisbees are I haven't done frisbees for a while for that reason. apparently they're death traps. Apparently, although I do have foam ones. So I teach K to 2. So the foam ones are great. So they definitely can use those. And you're not going to get hurt. If you get hurt with a foam frisbee, it probably means that you ate it. And if you're eating foam, then you got a lot of other problems to worry about. Big Bon is just, I just like that Big Bon has the confidence that I understand a single word that he's typing. I don't know any of the Russian alphabet. I know it's Russian or Ukrainian or some Eastern European language that I don't know because of the funny letters, the backwards R. But you gotta just put it in Google Translate and put it in English for me, man. I wish the YouTube would. I know in comments it will translate them, but unfortunately, um, yeah, like yeah, type in Spanish at least. I could read Spanish and glean what you mean. But hey, Reed, you caught me on the tail end. I'm ready to go in and smash some food so I don't get skinny. But did some snatch push press, did some really crappy jerks, and then did a what you call it? Did some clean deadlifts or regular deadlifts, I guess. Just deadlifts with shoes on. I call any deadlifts I do with weightlifting shoes on clean deadlifts. Told him you know what. I don't even. It went pretty well. I missed. So I snatch push press 125 for 3, which I was really surprised that I even did it for 1. But then tried to jerk 140. I jumped from 110, which isn't necessarily uncommon if I'm just doing jerks, but didn't get that. But just didn't really have that like the extra energy to do really good jerks today. And then the pulls are easy, so I had 265 for 3, which isn't a PR or anything. It's just a difficult set, but it isn't anything radical. And I really think the lunges that I've been doing have been clapping me in a lot of ways. I've been really surprised. So I've added I was doing body weight with them, and I did with a barbell the last 2 times, and with more reps the previous. And they've been making me really sore in my glutes and my hips and a little bit in my quads. Really interestingly, like I feel a little bit of my quads right after doing them, but then the next day I get DOMs in my glutes, which kind of makes some sense why my squats have been going well since I'm just doing more leg volume. But it's just really interesting because I hate doing them, but they're getting easier the more I'm doing them. And the big reason I hate doing them is that they bother my knees to do them. And it's like the only movement since I had my knee scoped now at this point, it's like 9 years ago, where my right knee just does not like those movements. And full cleans, snatches, squats, all of them, Gucci. But single, so the way I've been doing them is I do one side and then do the other side. So I just step forward. They're like stepping, and I just step forward with one, do 5 or whatever, however many I want to do, and then do the other side. In theory, like alternating would be good, but I don't think mentally I'm ready to just like not just get one side done. That's the biggest reason I do that. I would like my OCD part of my brain is like you should alternate because that would fatigue the muscles at a similar rate because it's not like your left leg's not doing anything when it's you're using your right side or vice versa. It's not like one side's passive, but I like to get my right side, do that side first because that's where my knee is the most achy, and just know that like, all right, I know I can do the other side. But Big Bond typing in English now, I appreciate it. But it's like every 60th scroll. You can't escape me, well, I'm everywhere. I mean, if you scroll 60 times and I come back up, that's not really that good for the algorithm. But I've been really I'm just happy that I'm doing lunges, and right now it's with a bar, and I'm ready to start maybe adding a little bit of weight with it. But yeah, I have a weird on my right side. I have some. I guess it's probably a radiculopathy where you kind of have some like pinching or like a not necessarily like a shooting pain, but this is a really big tangent. So I was on jury duty, and it was like a medical malpractice, and so we learned all about radiculopathy and nerve damage and herniated disc and all of this. You have to learn about it because that's part of it that they tell you with it. And so like the radiculopathy, I actually like got and understanding from the couple of different doctors that were talking about it. But on my right side, just like randomly, like throughout the day when I'm walking, I don't ever get it, but it's like by the end of the day, it's kind of like feels a little pinchy, a little nervy, and I think it might just be tightness and stuff. But ironically, it feels better. Like I'm guessing it's probably some sort of disc herniation of some sort. Because when I like squat and stuff, it actually feels better, which would tell me that it would be something like that because of the compression forces of the squat. But I've never had a twinge or anything while I'm doing an actual lift. It's just like when I'm walking around between lifts, which is just bizarre. But if I ever had it during a lift, I would just stop lifting entirely for that day because it would freak me out. But I don't have it for anything other than when just randomly. And I don't know. It's definitely hit or miss with that. But yeah, it's definitely obnoxious. And I think just stretching and massaging the area has been like the biggest thing that kind of alleviates it or make it just less likely to kind of be there. But it's definitely something that's I don't know. It's always been my right side of my lower back over the years, where it's never been like if I have like a little bit of soreness, it's that side. It's never like always. Yeah, like it could be sciatica. It could be a lot of things with that. Um, the biggest thing is just stretching and just but stretching and just mobility, or I mean massage in the area, and just trying not to be a buffoon on everything. But yeah, and thankfully, Bradley, I'm not quite there yet, or haven't been there yet. It's just like, ooh, that felt weird, and then I just go back to lifting and it feels fine. But yeah, I don't, and that's the thing is like, if it was during an exercise, like I would be able to diagnose it a little bit better, and also avoid movements that, in theory, would irritate it. But it's just literally like, I'll do like a deadlift, and then I'll just be walking around, and it's not even it doesn't have to be deadlift. It could be an overhead press. It could be a squat. Like it's not exercise dependent. Like there's not even that correlation where it's like every time I do a deadlift, then like after it's like, oh, I have a twinge or whatever. It's just like I'm warming up, and then it does it. But what I've noticed is, well, stretching has been helpful. Hanging has also been like helpful, and I have the wooden bar up here, so I can. Let me point this way. I have to go in inverse. I use that to stretch my back a lot, which feels just really good on my shoulders. I was doing a lot for my shoulder, and obviously helps the back as well. So I look different with the glasses, but yeah. I mean, thankfully, yikes, yeah, that sounds kind of insane, Bradley. But Big Bon had one English sentence and gave up, went back to Russian. You know, I wish I could understand Russian. The letters confuse me very much. Yeah, that's like, and that's my kind of been my overall conclusion is it's not gonna hurt to stretch my hips. It's not gonna hurt to stretch my the hang because that's good for my shoulders anyway. It's like it's good to do all of the mobility stuff and kind of take a holistic approach to it because it's not like every time I squat or like in your case you mentioned the butt wink. It's like I don't have like a movement dependent thing that I can avoid, and I don't ever feel like I can't lift. Obviously, I've been lifting really well lately, so like I really feel like I can hit whatever numbers I'm trying to do on that day. I'm not like apprehensive about it, and I think that's the hardest thing when you have any sort of pain like that is when it's um, big pump back. Yeah, he's typed in English again there, Bradley. He said that I'm a big boy. Oh, he's a G. I'm assuming that he's saying nice things, but I'll just assume that just because I don't understand Russian. But yeah, the holistic approach is to just do all of the things that we all know are good to do in general, and try to recover and do all the smart things. And one of the random things that I've been trying to do, which is strangely hard, is to what you may call it, not walk as much at school. Because if I just walk how much I want to or how much like I feel like I need to throughout the day, I could honestly probably if I was really like didn't try to limit myself at all, would probably get about 15,000 steps, and that's before I even train. On a I had like 12,000 not today but the day before, and I was actively trying not to walk, which is kind of annoying because I was trying to stay under 10,000. Not that 10,000 is like a magic number, but just trying to limit. Today I think I was like 8,500 or something, But I also had 2 classes, so I had 7 classes instead of 8, and so it's a bit tricky when you have the different amounts on each day. But I'm trying to limit it for the just general fatigue when I can, when it makes sense. But also my feet have been getting a little sore, like a plantar fasciitis type soreness, not really like anything that's serious, but like that kind of that area. And so I'm trying to like, give myself, just being chilling right now. Tapper, I am always trying to bulk, but I keep accidentally losing weight, unfortunately. So I'm down to like 233, 232. At least I was, I think this morning or maybe yesterday morning when the last I weighed myself. So I keep accidentally losing weight. So in theory, I am always bulking because I never really try to cut. But at the end of the day, if I lose some weight, I'm not really that stressed about it, especially because of just how active I am throughout the day. It's going to be difficult to just kind of maintain it. But yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, Bradley, and shooting the crap with me. But I think I gotta get this weight off and go eat some food and watch some Thursday night football. I forget who plays, and I think it's like 2 crappy teams, so I probably won't probably won't watch the whole thing. But appreciate you guys stopping by for the live. This one seemed to be popping off. I guess Thursdays might be a good day, but appreciate you, Bradley Welp, and the Mr. Russian Russian friend that stood by. I hope you guys have a good night. Take care. Watch some football. Whoop. Hit this. Later, guys.